All right, today, week 8. We read this yesterday, went through it. Today I'm going to review and go over everything with you. Okay? When they talked about the 3 L's that the Europeans were coming to America for, what were the 3 L's? Say all of them.
Land, loot, and labor.
Land, loot, and labor. Okay? And they came over to the United States. Well, back then it was the New World. They came over to the New World for this. Then we go to the inside. They talked about the Columbian Exchange. What was the Columbian Exchange?
It's with the pioneers that came to the New World and with the New World brought to the Old World, and then I know that.
No. You're right in what it was. It was exchange of goods from the New World to the Old World, but also from the Old World to the New World. For example, Columbus, when he came over, what were some of the things that he brought over?
He brought some horses.
Horses. Horses were not here. You always think about Indians having horses and everything. They weren't here until Columbus got here. They came over with him. Now, when he went to go back, instead of putting them back on the boat and having to worry about feeding them and everything else, cleaning up after them, he left them here. Okay? He left them here. And from that, each one of these Spanish expeditions that came over, they ended up leaving them here. And that's how they went and they grew wild. They have wild herds of them. Okay? And that's how they became wild. Indians then tried to tame some of them. And that's how the Indians ended up using them to go and hunt buffalo, to do different things. Okay? Columbus also brought over some other things too. He brought over cows. Cows weren't here. He brought over pigs, sheep, okay? All of these things. Now, from here, they took back all sorts of other things. Pineapples, avocados, yams, tomatoes, strawberries. The one that gets me is tomatoes. Because you always think of Italians from Italy having spaghetti sauce. You need some sauce. Some sauce with the spaghetti. Okay? Well, the main ingredient in that is tomatoes. But before this time, they didn't have that sauce. Okay? Now, this was the exchange. Now, there was also an exchange that came from Africa. What came from Africa? Diseases, what else? Something else that was bad.
American slaves.
Slaves. Okay? Now, the diseases came from Europe. When Columbus landed down in the islands, some of the sailors that were on the boat had the flu, common cold, whatever. The Indians that were down there in the islands, okay, down in these islands where he landed, they weren't used to them. And these diseases, the common flu, the common cold, killed off over half of their tribe. Thousands and thousands and thousands. Same thing happened in Mexico. When the explorers went in, they had what was a common cold to them. It killed off thousands and thousands and thousands of them also. Okay? In your paper, it talks about, hint, you better listen. Talks about 10 million slaves coming over, right? How many of them died? Nope. 2 million. 2 million of them died. So you bring over 10, and 2 of them die off from different diseases. Okay? Talks about the different crops. I'll tell you this, on your test, see where it says the Columbian Exchange? Ulysses, see where it says the Columbian Exchange? Okay? If you look at that, you have the old world over here, and you have the new world over here. Okay? The arrows that are yellow coming over, all of that stuff is things that's brought over to the new world. The red or orangish one, that's stuff going from the new world back to the old world. Okay? On your test, there are questions on that. They show you this map, but you have to be able to look at it and figure it out. Read the questions. Chocolate. Who brought chocolate back to the old world? Kelly? Cortez. Okay. Now, they also are going to have a question on the test. It's going to be about connecting. If you remember when I said that I have a brother-in-law that lives in Australia, okay? If I send him an email, how long is it going to take to get there? Matter of seconds, okay? It probably might be a minute or so because of our internet, if I send it from here, because it's running slow. But matter of seconds, it would be there, okay? How about if I were to send him a letter? Kellen?
Like if you were to send him a letter in like this time or in the past?
Let's do the past.
In the past it would take a couple months.
It's gonna take months to get there, okay? How about a telephone call?
Like seconds to minutes?
More minutes, we're gonna say, okay? Because it's not as quick as what the internet is, okay? So, you guys are gonna have to know that also. Now, Hudson. Tell me about Henry Hudson.
I can't remember him.
What did he do?
He discovered Hudson River.
Hudson River.
He discovered the other river called the Hudson Bay.
Yep.
His crew member is John Newton. Or was it a different one? Newton?
He did what?
His crew member is John Newton. Or like Newton.
Yeah, that was the last one, where his group mutinied him.
He discovered the Hudson Strait.
Yeah, no, there's not a straight for him. Nope. In this one that we read yesterday, what about him?
He discovered New Hampshire, but which is now New York City.
He just
Amsterdam.
he claimed New Amsterdam. He also claimed something else there. That he named something close to New Amsterdam. New Netherland. The whole state of New York, okay, was known as New Netherland. Okay? Then the city, Manhattan Island, that was New Amsterdam. Okay? Because if you were to go back to Europe, okay, Europe has Netherlands over here, okay, which is their country, but the capital of the Netherlands was Amsterdam. So the city from there is the city over here. The country over here is now the state over here. So New Netherland was the state of New York, and New Amsterdam became New York City. Okay? The British ended up taking it from him, from New Netherlands, and they renamed it after the Duke of York, and that's where it became New York. Okay? Hudson was also working for somebody else, and then he got hired by the Dutch to come over. And they told him to do what when he got over here?
Claim land for the.
Claim land for him. Said, hey, we're paying you to go there, go claim us some land. So he claimed them the New Netherlands and New Amsterdam, okay? Now, what were all these people coming over here for? What were they trying to get? There's like 4 things they were trying to get when they came over.
They were trying to get gold and.
There's one.
Spices.
What?
Spices.
That wasn't what they said. There was like 4 different things they were coming to get. Lucas?
Wasn't that like fur and wine?
And gold. And let's see, what else? They came over wanting them to get all of these things. But I'm gonna tell you, it's on the test too. Wasn't just the land, the loot, and the labor. They came looking for, or were told to get all of these different things. And one of them, I remember one was gold, because it was in one of your questions after, one of the articles that we read yesterday.
One of them was silver.
No, it wasn't silver.
Oh.
When I find it, I'll tell you. But some of it was, it might have been the furs. I think there were some resources in there. And I know gold was the last thing. So if I can find where the gold was, I'll tell you. It's in Staples.
Yeah. Like near the bottom. The bottom left. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's what I said.
Searching for gold. That was one of the, yeah. But there were other things too that they came to get. If we go back to, if you go online and when you look at the Old World meets New World, one of the questions after it tells you in there, okay? And that's where I keep telling you to go back over those questions. So Thursday, what I want you to do, even if you just play the recording, but listen to it. Don't just push play and go do something else. Listen to it. Take it in. Absorb it. Okay? Look at the questions that are afterwards that we've already answered, the 3 questions. Absorb those also. Watch the video. Okay? These are things that are going to help you get ready for the test. Okay? But all of these things that I've talked with you about are on there. Okay? Everything from chocolate to the internet, email, to the foods, to diseases, slaves, those 3 L's, all of that is gonna be there, and you're gonna have to know it. Yes?
Are we ever gonna have like a social studies project?
Yes, we are.
This isn't really like on the week, but it kind of goes to it. How do you claim the land?
You just go, back then, all they would do is go over, stick a flag in and say, I claim this, and it would be their country's flag. I claim this for Spain.
What happens if they're like the people on the other side of the flag?
They've already tried, then they end up fighting them for it, is what happened. Back then, that's what happened. And most of the time, they came over, claimed the land, and the Indians were already there. But the Indians didn't have a piece of paper that said, this land's mine. But the Indians had their own way of sorting the land out.
My sister cried out when she was about to throw away her bed, she went to go through stuff, and she found this letter from the 19th.
Yeah,
Did the American Indians use sign language to speak to each other?
they had different types of language, and if you watched in the one video, one of the things that they showed were smoke signals.
Yeah.
That's how
Have
they would
scientists like figured it out yet? Like,
figure out what the smoke signals were. No, there were some that knew it, but the Indians didn't really do a lot of writing of things. They would have their family, the tribe together, and they would pass on stories. And they would pass on, like, they would have their doctor that was there, but that doctor didn't go to school, he just learned of things. Where he learned from them was from his family. Then he would pass it on to his children, and they would then know how to take care of things. And that's how a lot of that was kept alive, by telling the stories, storytelling. But back then, they did not have TV, radio, the internet. They didn't have the World Series going on. They didn't have the Stanley Cup. They didn't have soap operas. They didn't have books to read. So the way that things were passed on was through storytelling. Okay, and that's how they did things. Yes?
Can you rip a flag out of the ground? Like,
Huh?
if, let's say Spain claims somewhere, would, like, the Seminoles go out and rip that flag out?
Yeah, it happened. And all it did is start an argument and a war. So those are things that happen. You wanna go ahead and turn that off?